The laughter started near the glass wall, faint but sharp enough to slice through the hum of the air conditioner. Maria didn't look up. She kept scrubbing the polished floor, moving the mop in slow, practiced arcs that reflected the cold white light of Brightwell Tech's offices. Friday evenings were supposed to be quiet, the kind of silence she liked. But tonight, a cluster of executives had stayed late for a project review, and she'd walked into their orbit at the wrong time. One of them, a woman in a tailored navy suit, tilted her head toward Maria. "There she is again," she murmured, not quietly enough. "Does she sleep here?" Another man chuckled. "Probably trying to get overtime. Or maybe she just loves cleaning after us." Their laughter rippled, light and cruel. Maria didn't stop working. The smell of disinfectant and lemon polish filled her lungs as she pushed the mop forward. She'd learned not to answer, not to give them anything. Her mother used to say silence could be armor if worn properly. The CEO's daughter sat quietly nearby, her small form curled on a waiting bench. 8-year-old Lily Brightwell clutched a sketchbook in her lap, tracing shapes with a crayon. Maria had seen her before, fragile, watchful, the way children are when grief steals their words. Tonight, she smiled softly at Maria, a rare flicker of warmth in a sterile place. Maria smiled back, almost imperceptibly, but the laughter behind her grew bolder. One man picked up a piece of printer paper and folded it carelessly into a crooked swan. "Hey, maybe she can add this to her decorations," he said. "She's always drawing something on the bulletin board." The group burst out laughing again. Maria's hand froze around the mop handle. The paper swan wasn't far from truth. She had been leaving little drawings for Lily during her shifts, a bird one night, a butterfly the next. Simple sketches meant to coax a smile, to remind the girl of color in a world drained by loss. But to them, it was nothing but something to mock. She turned slightly, her voice low but steady. "Please don't leave trash on the floor. I just cleaned there." Her tone was calm, but something in it made the room go quiet for half a second. Then the woman in the navy suit smirked. "Of course," she said. "We wouldn't want to interrupt your masterpiece." Maria resumed her work without a word. The sting burned behind her eyes, not from shame but from the memory of another room, years ago, a workshop that smelled of turpentine and chalk. Her husband had built her easel himself, back when they still believed art could pay the bills. After his death, bills came faster than commissions. When the rent rose, the paints went first. The brushes followed. Now she worked under LED lights instead of sunlight, trading color for stability. But sometimes, while emptying bins or wiping glass doors, she still imagined the soft sound of a brush against canvas. When the last of the executives left, their perfume lingering in the air, Maria sat for a moment on the edge of her cart. The city lights beyond the glass shimmered like reflections of a life she no longer lived. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a folded paper butterfly, Lily's latest creation. One wing was uneven, the color smeared. Maria smiled faintly and placed it on the bench beside her mop bucket. The small gesture felt like a promise to something she couldn't yet name. Behind her, the mural she'd been secretly painting in an unused corridor, just soft outlines so far. Faint blues and yellows, waited unfinished. Maybe tomorrow, she thought. Maybe tomorrow she'd add the sky. By Monday morning, the office smelled of fresh coffee and disinfectant. The weekend's quiet had washed away the laughter, but Maria still felt its echo when she walked past the corridor where it happened. She adjusted her gloves, breathing in the sterile chill of the building, and told herself it was just another week. Only this time, something waited for her in the north hallway, a half-finished wall covered with pale sketches and faint color. She'd started it months ago, a secret she never meant anyone to see. The janitor's closet was nearby, and during her breaks, she would paint small fragments from memory, a little girl holding a kite, a field of yellow wildflowers, a horizon that never quite ended. It wasn't rebellion. It was survival. That morning, Lily Brightwell followed her father into the building. The child's shoes tapped softly against the marble, her small hand gripping a worn sketchbook. Daniel Brightwell barely noticed Maria as they passed. To him, she was still background, a blur of motion, the steady rhythm that kept his company spotless. But Lily stopped. "Daddy," she whispered, tugging his sleeve, pointing toward the faint colors at the end of the hall. Maria froze. The paintbrush in her hand trembled. Daniel turned, frowning. "What's that? It's—" "Nothing, sir," Maria said quickly. "Just cleaning up a wall stain." But Lily had already walked closer, touching the painted sky with her fingertips. "It's pretty," she murmured. "It looks like my dream." Daniel blinked, taken aback. "Your dream?" Lily nodded, tracing the lines of a butterfly hidden among the clouds. "The same one I drew for you. Before." Her voice cracked slightly, but she didn't look away from the wall. Maria felt something twist inside her. She hadn't known. The butterfly, the same shape, the same crooked wing, had come from Lily's sketchbook. The girl must have left it behind one evening, and Maria had unknowingly carried it into her painting. Within minutes, others gathered. Office workers slowed their steps, whispering. Some of the same executives from Friday stopped in disbelief. "Is this her work?" one of them muttered. The woman in the navy suit crossed her arms, unease flickering behind her polished smile. She must have copied it from somewhere, but Daniel didn't speak. He stepped closer, scanning the mural as if reading a confession written in color. Each brushstroke told a story, of grief, of tenderness, of a child's lost voice finding its echo in paint. He turned toward Maria. "You did this?" She hesitated. Yes, sir. I started it on my breaks." "For Lily! It wasn't meant to be seen!" The silence that followed was heavy. Then Lily's small voice broke it. "I like it," she said simply. "It makes me feel less lonely." Daniel's composure cracked. The corners of his mouth trembled, his eyes wet in a way that made everyone else look away. "Maria," he said quietly, "would you finish it?" She stared at him, unsure if she'd heard right. "I want this wall complete," he said, louder now. "Not erased. It belongs here." The room held its breath. The same people who'd mocked her stood still, no laughter left to hide behind. Maria nodded slowly, her heart pounding as if it had been waiting years for permission to exist. That afternoon, she painted under the watch of an audience that didn't dare interrupt. Lily sat cross-legged nearby, sketchbook open, coloring beside her. The once sterile hallway bloomed with blues and golds, sunlight spilling across the wet paint like forgiveness itself. By evening, the mural was finished, a sweep of sky where butterflies carried paper wings into the light. No one applauded. They didn't need to. The hush in the room said everything. When Maria cleaned her brushes, she saw Lily's hand slip into her father's. The girl turned and smiled, a real smile this time, and whispered something to him. "Thank her." Daniel did. Quietly, sincerely. Later that night, long after everyone had gone, Maria stood alone before the wall. The lights dimmed automatically, leaving her silhouette framed by color. The reflection of the mural glimmered faintly on the polished floor, a single butterfly's wing beneath her feet, and for the first time in years, Maria felt she could finally breathe.